What would you do if a stranger told you someone wanted you dead? In November 2020, podcast producer Carl Miller and ethical hacker Chris Montero joined a video call with Elena, a Swiss woman from Zurich, to tell her just that. Elena listened as the two explained that her name, photo address, and daily routine appeared on a dark website where people pay in Bitcoin to have others killed. She was going through an ugly divorce, and a lot of money was at stake. Money her husband was refusing to pay, and getting her out of the picture would make his problem conveniently disappear. A few months back, Chris Montero called Carl Miller with a discovery. He had found and exploited a vulnerability in a dark web Hitman for hire site. Suddenly he could see what the admin saw. Every customer message, target photos, pattern of life notes and Bitcoin payments. This isn't a movie or an internet myth. It's a real kill list. Chris and Carl alerted the police but were waved off. They had to take matters into their own hands. With people's lives on the line, the stakes were high. We're going inside that list. What goes on in a real-life dark web death note? How does it work? And how did the whole thing break down? Chris Montero isn't your hoodie in a basement stereotype hacker. By day, he's a chill Londonite guy. But by night, he has a strange hobby, poking holes in the Darknet. His rabbit hole started on the regular internet, a goofy Hitman for hire comparison page that ranked murder sites like they were hotel deals. Sketchy, yes, but also very effective to get a murder business at the top results of search engines. This caught Chris's attention, because if someone built a doorway this loud, the real business was probably hiding behind it. He followed the links into a 90s-looking site that promised Mafia-level service for Bitcoin. The order form was straightforward. Name, address, photos. Daily routine, preferred method. Then a QR code for payment, and there you have it. A hit was ordered. Chris was curious, could any of this actually work? He needed to test it for himself. First, he filed a fake hit on Bob the Builder, a famous children's cartoon character, to see the flow from a buyer's point of view, which dropped him into the site's one-to-one messaging. Then he noticed the message had an ID number. He changed it by +1, and there it is. Someone else's thread that allowed Chris to access all the conversations that took place on the site. He whipped up a tiny Python script to iterate IDs and pull every conversation names, photos, routines, and Bitcoin transfer receipts. Next step was to open directories on the server. From there, he tested the forms, opened a secret command window, and took control. Chris kept going until he basically owned the website and mapped the whole setup. Orders poured in from everywhere. Amsterdam, $2,000 for a straight kill. Paris, $1,000 to torch an apartment. Slovakia, $14,000 to take someone down. Some buyers sent 2 lines. Name, address. Make it look like a robbery. Others dumped creepy play-by-plays. School runs, license plates. Gym times, what door they use. Even best day is Sunday every time someone paid for a hit. The admin replied with a new problem. The gun got lost, the target's guarded. We need a better team, and then asked for more Bitcoin. It was a simple upsell. Make it sound harder to charge more. Real hitmen sometimes pull the same trick to raise fees. That's when Chris called journalist Carl Miller. He now had receipts, and they needed a plan on how to go forward. The two felt completely unqualified to deal with this situation. They were amateurs with no clue how to deal with a kill list. So they did what anyone else would. They called the police. The response was half-hearted. The Metropolitan Police passed the case to the Interpol, who would supposedly hand the information on to the relevant local cops. But authorities couldn't verify for sure that there were no real hitmen behind the whole thing. They concluded that it was just a case of pro-scammers. But the buyers, they were dead serious. What if one of them were to find a real hitman? Or take matters into their own hands? Carl and Chris decided to contact the targets themselves. What they would reveal was shocking. Even if the site looks like a scam, danger was still real for the targets, and it wasn't just a hypothesis. Prior to the investigation in 2016, Amy Allwine, a woman from Minnesota, was murdered by her church counselor husband, Stephen Allwine, after he tried and failed to place a hit on her, using the same dark web hitman site. Knowing what happened to Amy Allwine, Chris and Carl had to act first. Chris and Carl built a short warning speech, with the help of a psychologist, and began dialing targets one by one. Hey, we have credible intel that someone's trying to get you killed. Don't call my phone ever again, dude.
Yes, sir.
We're pretty sure someone's put a hit on you on the dark web. Yeah, right. Fuck off telling someone that a dark web hit was placed on them. Sounded like a bad joke. They changed tactics. The shift was to stop cold calling and start showing up. Through trusted locals, they recruited reporters in each country, people who could knock on a door, show ID and say you need to hear this. The first field test was Zurich. The order on Elena was flagged urgent, and a big Bitcoin sum had already moved her. Full address was in the form, so the local journalist went up and knocked. 5 minutes slid into 10, then 15 finally. Elena answered, cautious but composed, and agreed to jump on a Zoom call with Carl. On screen, she was exactly like the photo from the order. Brown hair, glasses, and steady eyes. Carl delivered the line they'd rehearsed. There's no easy way to say this. We found your name on a dark website where people pay to get others killed. She didn't panic. I'm not really surprised. I'm going through an ugly divorce. It's been 3 years. There's a lot of money involved, and my husband doesn't want to pay. That Zurich call became the template. Knock on doors, verify identity. Bring the target into a live warning and move fast. Because the orders weren't hypothetical. Over the months that followed, they contacted a fish seller in northern Spain who'd been targeted on the site. A guy in Wisconsin locked in a custody dispute who suspected his ex-wife was behind the hit. A woman in Washington state, targeted in an attempted kidnapping by her estranged husband. Carl and Chris shifted from faceless calls to face-to-face reality, turning a spreadsheet of names into people who'd actually been warned. And in some cases protected, but no agency wanted to adopt a full investigation yet, leaving the results of the warning scattered and limited. So how did the kill list eventually go down as the case list grew? A pattern set in: detectives would arrive skeptical, then sit up when they saw the receipts, Bitcoin trails, message threads, timestamps and delivery updates. When authorities finally moved, they moved hard. Suspects found on the site were taken down for questioning, and before long arrests started. In Switzerland, Elena's husband was arrested after police discovered he had rented a secret room next to her apartment stocked with zip ties, guns and GPS trackers. In Wisconsin, hospital administrator Kelly Harper, who'd logged into the site to order a hit on her ex, was arrested and later convicted. In Utah, Microsoft security tech Christopher Pence was charged after paying to have his kids killed. In Washington state, Dr. Ronald Ilg, who tried to have a woman kidnapped and forcibly addicted to heroin, was caught with the Darknet handle and password literally written on a post-it in his safe. In total, the team handed over 175 paid orders worldwide. From those, there have been 30-plus arrests. Nearly that many convictions. Once the first judgments landed, courts didn't hesitate to pass serious charges, including conspiracy solicitation, aggravated stalking, and domestic violence enhancements. Meanwhile, the marketplace itself was ripped apart. After the data was gathered and the reporting began, law enforcement in multiple countries launched coordinated actions. In Romania, a wave of raids hit the group believed to be behind the operation. They were cybercriminals, excellent at marketing and terrible at cybersecurity. Shortly after those raids, access to the site vanished, and the team was locked out for good. And the person behind it all, a guy known as Yura, went quiet after the Romanian raids. Yura, the administrator. Well, there was a series of raids in Romania at the end of 2022. They never reached the courtroom. We don't know what happened, but shortly after these raids, which was a combination of DHS and Romanian counter-terrorism, we were locked out of the site. There are still markets pushing weapons, stolen data forgeries, and the worst illegal content you could imagine. The creepiest part about the story, the people placing these orders weren't movie villains. They were ordinary folks, a hospital admin, an IT tech, a doctor, people you'd never think are capable of placing kill hits. When I first started doing this, I thought the kinds of cases were gonna be to do with maybe organized crime, big drug deals gone wrong. And I think the reality is somewhat more unsettling. The people on this list, the kill list, and the people that put them there are normal people. They have jobs. They have friends. They go about living their life just like you and I. We might all be just a little bit closer to the being on a kill list. We might like to think. Many of you have been emailing us, asking about how we make our videos and how to follow the steps of this channel. But before going into technicalities, we thought it would be better for you to get informed on the basics of YouTube and how to go about building a YouTube career. We made a 6-page document to give you a realistic idea on what it takes to build a profitable YouTube channel, the DOS and don'ts, as well as the biggest misconceptions about building a channel. It's a 5-minute read that will probably change the way you view this space. The guide is completely free. Click the first link in the description. We'll see you on the other side.